Hello, my name is Grace Mejia, and my presentation will be on improving the flow of traffic on the Tom Moreland Interchange in Atlanta, Georgia. So the Tom Moreland Interchange is an interchange of two interstates, two freeways, 285, which is also known as the perimeter, and 85, and is located just northeast of Atlanta, Georgia, in the suburb of Doraville, which is in DeKalb County. The interchange is commonly referred to as the Spaghetti Junction. It's technically one of many spaghetti junctions, but in Atlanta, it's locally referred to as the Spaghetti Junction because it's a spaghetti mess if you look at it from the aerial view. So I'm going to draw a brief sketch of what the highways, how highways cross through Atlanta. So here's the 85 and goes through downtown. This is Atlanta. And then this is the 75, briefly merges with the 85 in downtown, and then it heads toward Chattanooga. The 85 heads toward Greenville and Charlotte, and then to the northeast, right? And the northbound, the 75 northbound goes toward Chattanooga, and southbound it heads toward Florida, Savannah, or just simply Macon, Georgia. And then the 85 southbound heads towards Montgomery, and it actually terminates in Montgomery. And the 85, oh, yes, I went over that. Okay, and there's also a third interstate that crosses through, a third freeway, it's the 20. So this one comes from Birmingham, from the west, and it travels eastward, crosses through Atlanta, and then it travels toward Augusta, Georgia, and into South Carolina. And then this is the 285, or the perimeter, commonly known as the perimeter. And what happens is there's a restriction in Atlanta where unless a truck is making delivery inside the perimeter, they cannot go inside the perimeter. They're not allowed to travel through downtown Atlanta. So then they have to use the 285 or the perimeter as a bypass. So let's say there's traffic traveling from Birmingham to Charlotte, and also from Marietta, which is a suburb of Atlanta, to Charlotte. So then they're both going to, let me use my red dot for this. They're both going to use the Birmingham traffic is going to come from 20, or yes, it's going to come from the west, from Birmingham, and take the 20, get on the 285, and then take the 85. And the Marietta traffic is going to get on the 75 south, take the 285, and then get on the 85. And then this right here, where's my pen? This right here is where the Spaghetti Junction is. Maybe I should highlight that instead. This is where the Spaghetti Junction is. And the reason I picked Birmingham and Marietta as the two examples, or yeah, Marietta or Chattanooga as the examples, is because this right here, traffic going from the inner loop of the perimeter and getting onto my red dot again, getting onto the 85 north, they use this ramp right here. And what happens is this ramp becomes very heavily congested during peak hours. Now, I couldn't find any source to support this, so I'm just going to use an anecdote here. I've traveled through this frequently, and sometimes I'll see traffic backed up probably as much as half a mile away from the interchange itself. That's how congested it gets. And this is why the American Transportation Research Institute, ATRI, lists this as one of the worst, if not the single worst, interchanges in the entire country. The reason well, besides the fact that it's so heavily used by interstate freight traffic and automobiles alike, the reason it's so another reason it's so congested is because, or it can be so congested at times, is because there is a sort of a sharp rise or a steep grade and then a sharp curve. And then the ramp sort of becomes a viaduct. So as you can see in this image, satellite image here, the ramp goes through here, it traverses through here, and then it rises and then it crosses over some other ramps and the interchange. I mean, yes, the interchange, the junction itself, and then it merges onto the 85 North. But before it does that, it goes downhill, and it goes downhill another steep incline, and then it merges. And another reason why it can be so congested is because this is a choke point. And again, I'm just going to use an anecdote because I couldn't find many sources that explain the details of the interchange. So going this way is I haven't seen that this much traffic, and like I used to use this interchange frequently, every other day perhaps. So going this way, coming from the outer loop, or yes, going this way isn't so bad, is because of this because the traffic doesn't have to go through a steep grade and a sharp curve. The curve is still somewhat sharp, but at least the ramp is shorter. It's easier to traverse through, but it doesn't mean that the traffic flows through that much more smoothly. And so the solutions I propose for that is to separate I propose 3 possible solutions. 1, separate the truck traffic from the automobile traffic. So as you can see in this image right here, you see 2 trucks that are side by side, and because the trucks have to slow down, they're heavier vehicles. They're holding up the traffic of the automobiles, who can travel through they can traverse through the ramp faster, a slightly higher speed. So, and because of that, that might be slowing down the traffic. So one solution would be to either separate the truck traffic by creating restricting trucks to the right lane and automobiles to the left lane. So that way it flows somewhat more smoothly, or at least the automobile traffic. And alternatively, express lanes can be built for automobiles, so that, well, optional express lanes, whether they're tolled or high occupancy lanes, or both, a mixture of both, they can be built, and perhaps even express ramps, so that the automobiles can be redirected away from this main ramp right here, or at least some of the automobile traffic, to facilitate the flow of the traffic in general. The trucks would still have to slow down because of the curves, but at least the automobiles will flow through a little faster. And then the trucks it might even work out for the trucks too, because they don't have to deal with so much automobile traffic. A second solution I propose is making it more into a true stack interchange. So technically the Spaghetti Junction is already a stacked interchange, but it's still a bit of a mess when compared with the somewhat more ideal interchange like this one right here, stack interchange. This is I believe this is the sketch of the 4-point interchange, or 4-stack interchange, which is in Southern California. So the Spaghetti Junction should be modeled to be more like this. And one way you could do that is by removing access to arterial roads. There are a lot of access points from local roads that connect, that serve businesses and residential areas, roads with traffic lights. There's a lot of access points to there. So one solution would be to limit those access points and thereby removing some ramps that connect to the interchange. That might create more congestion for vehicles I mean, on those arterial roads, because the vehicles will have to will be throttled to other access points, but at least it'll ease the flow of flow of traffic on the interstate. I mean, and the interchange itself. So, for instance, here is let me see. I'm not sure if I remember exactly which roads are adjacent to this, but there are a few roads that run parallel. One is Peachtree Industrial Boulevard, which is up over here. And then another just to the southeast, the immediate southeast, probably within a quarter of a mile of this interchange, is the Chambly Tucker Road. And there's also Buford Highway that runs through here too. And some of these roads actually have access points. Like you can actually get onto this interchange directly from those roads. And also there's a bunch of other smaller roads that this connects to. So again, my solution would be to reiterate, my solution would be to remove access to those local roads and instead redirect the traffic trying to enter the freeways to interchanges that are or access points that are a little bit farther away, at least to ease the flow of traffic through the interchange itself. And that's it. That's all I have. And of course, definitely more research is to be done to this. So this is introductory research. And I'll definitely be looking forward to investigating this further when I pursue my graduate studies in civil engineering.